Hello everyone, we are back again for another Dokkan battle video. So, top 10 LRs in Dokkan just before New Year's. Now we do know that we have our TURs, it's TURs this year for New Year's, which is Dragon Fist Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and Hirudegan. It doesn't look like they're going to be LRs anyways, because we only seen their SSR arts, so I assume they're probably going to be just TURs this year, which makes sense, because I think last year with Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo, it was a special occasion, right? That makes sense to me. So, I was supposed to do this after Worldwide, but I just got sidetracked with a bunch of other stuff, and you know how infrequent my videos have been recently, so I do apologize for that. But we're here. So, let's go through some honorable mentions first. You can see anyone here who's not ranked at all are just, I just don't think good enough anymore. They're not, like some of these teams are actually still good. Like the Gods are good here. Super Saiyan 4 can still be good and useful in places. Goku and Piccolo, you can do shenanigans with for sure. Cooler is still good, but needs a better team around him and good RNG. Subaru can be decent. This Carnival Goku's not bad. I actually quite like him recently. I've been using him a bit. Tech Carnival Goku still has use with his revive, same with Metal Cooler. But I don't think any of these units are strong enough to make the top 10. Same, actually, I should have put these guys in the honorable mentions. Let me do that real quick. LR Gohan and Goten. I'll quickly go through them and then we'll actually get into the top 10. So, Gohan and Goten are basically just super class Cooler, who I think can get higher stats than him, and definitely have an easier chance doing their supers with the high chances rather than medium. But, them not having prepared for battle sucks, and them not having the best setup of all time doesn't really help them. And then being tech is actually probably their biggest weakness right now. With so many tough int fights. Int Rose Goku Black, Int Fusion Zamasu, Int Zamasu in the Goku Black and Zamasu stage, Int Omega in the Omega Shenron fight. Now, I won't really be considering Int Omega in this tier list since it's a global only tier list, so I'm only considering global units who we have on both versions. So like LR Rebrian is not ranked here, right? We're not considering LR Rebrian, for example. But yeah, just so we're all aware of what's going on. So let me go through the honorable mentions and then we will actually get going. So, Int Kid Gohan, as well as these guys. Int Kid Gohan, good unit. Defensive stacking has damage reduction, is a strong slot 2 option, can get to like very high defense pretty quickly. Main issue with Int Kid Gohan, doesn't have the best setups in the world. I mean, I do like his Bond of Master and Disciple 200% team, and I would like to run that more often, but it's not the best. Him being a slot 2 unit, again, in a meta where Int Fusion Zamasu is the be-all and end-all in terms of difficult fights, and AoE is not the best for him. Against Physical Sin, and again, if we had Int Omega on Global, same thing would apply for Kid Gohan. He'd be able to tank the AoEs, because he actually has time to build up to them. But Zamasu's turn 1 AoE bullshit does not fly with Kid Gohan, so he kind of gets destroyed. So not his best. Offensively, he can be very good. Defensively, he can be very strong after supering, after a couple of turns especially, stacking. But yeah, not quite what we're looking for in this meta. Also, these honorable mentions aren't ranked. These are just guys I think should get a quick shout out before we get into the proper list. Because I think this will be a long video. I'm going to sit here, or stand actually, I'm actually standing recording this. And we'll go through some peak units. So Vegeta and Trunks are next. Let's talk about Vegeta and Trunks. Vegeta and Trunks are a slot 1 unit, which is very valuable right now, especially with, again, units like Fusion Zamasu running around. Our bosses like Fusion Zamasu running around, right? And how tough bosses hit straight away, right? So Vegeta and Trunks will often, they do not tank immediately. I will say that. They catch a super like turn 1 from like Red Zone Goku Black, who to be fair is the hardest hitting boss turn 1. They're taking like 350k on that super, even with their guard up. It's a lot, right? And unfortunately, also for Vegeta and Trunks, they have this mechanic where getting hit for extra defense doesn't really fly right now. It's not really good for them. So I definitely don't like that on them. Being hit to build up when bosses are hitting for like 400k plus on normals turn 1 is just not great. They can tank normals basically after 1 turn of build up, but also bosses don't attack that much turn 1 other than Fusion Zamasu, right? Like in Sin doesn't hit that hard turn 1 or do that many attacks turn 1 either. Goku Black and Zamasu, if you do those stages, stage 3 and 4, the Dismal Future Red Zone, they don't do that many attacks. Like, I think they do 5 attacks per turn, and unless you get lucky and they're all in like slot 1, they're probably only gonna hit 1 or 2 times, and yeah, it's not great. They do have a very strong active skill, which got buffed thanks to Worldwide, right? Because they need a full future rotation to do that, and it's a very strong active skill, guaranteed crits of the turn, as well as buffing that whole rotation's defense. Like, that's a strong active skill, and that does help that future is definitely one of the best categories in the game now, with all the buffs they got. But I think even with all that said, Vegeta Trunks, although they're very good, and I like their design, they have a great leader skill, they lead a great team, got a pretty solid link set, don't really struggle for ki for the most part. They're still just not strong enough turn 1 to for me to justify them in the top 10. Golden Frieza is next. Golden Frieza is the best turn 1 unit in the game still, thanks to his 90% damage reduction, where you literally don't have to worry about him ever turn 1. He's fantastic, we do love that for him. And it does help that short content right now, like the Disney Future Red Zone, which is the main content, is short. Like Goku Black stage 2 phases, Goku Black and Zamasu 2 phases, and Merge Zamasu 2 phases. So that's good. We do love that for him, but it's not ideal. It's not ideal since he's not, his damage reduction wears out fast, so you need to finish these bosses fast. And I don't feel like Golden Frieza has the best teams. Now, he's on stuff like Final Trump Card and Battle of Fate, which is definitely helpful. So if you rock him on like the G2 Duos team, like he can definitely do stuff there, right? He can definitely be helpful, but he's not the biggest damage dealer, and his defense does wear out pretty quick. But on that turn 1, super valuable, but I don't think he does enough to justify him in the top 10. Okay, next is AGL Carnival Goku. I do like Carnival Goku. Unfortunately, he also has the mechanic like Vegeta and Trunks, where he has to get hit to build up. Now, unlike Vegeta and Trunks build up defense every time they're hit up to 5. Goku needs to get hit 5 times to get that big defensive buff. I mean, once he gets that buff, he's great. Like, he's solid. He also has the beam nullification. He's got the big heal, which I think is the best thing, as well as his guard, right? And the defense stacking. So, Goku can get to a very good level, like, relatively quickly. But again, same condition as Vegeta and Trunks. These bosses don't hit that many times at the beginning, so it's hard to build Goku up quickly, except for Fusion Zamasu. Fusion Zamasu is the difference. I actually think AGL Carnival Goku does quite well actually in Fusion Zamasu, which definitely does bring him up in terms of strength, right? Because Intermerge Zamasu does do a beam super attack, so Goku does have a 50-50 chance of countering that. But Zamasu does hit Goku very hard turn 1, even still. Now again, Goku does have his heal, so you can kind of get around that, but it's a scary fight, and Goku does do well in it. Same with Physical Sin as well, same thing. Although that fight can go on a little longer, but, it depends on what team you're on. If you're on, like, the GT Duos team, they just blitz that fight so fast. It's kind of ridiculous. But yeah, we'll move on from Carnival Goku, still a very strong unit. I would like to have dupes in him myself. I only have him at 55%, but even at 55%, I see his great value. Next, into EZA LR Rose Goku Black. Just a ridiculously powerful option for LR Merge Zamasu's team. Goku Black, like, as long as you can get him his ki, which for the most part isn't that hard since Tech Merge Zamasu doesn't really struggle for ki most of the time. He needs very little. You can give a lot of that to Rose as a slot 2 unit, and Rose just blitzes these bosses. He just drops like a 20 million attack stat and then follows it up by with an 11 million attack stat, and then you have your hidden potential. You can do a third one, or you can have and then if he does get the finishing blow, he's free on ki for the rest of the fight and has like a high chance to crit. Like, Rose gets very stupid if the conditions are met for him. But unfortunately, he also has a heal, like a small heal, which can be, helpful, right, as well. I do like that for him. But unfortunately, he gets all of his defense on super, and these AoE bosses just tear him up. It's just how it is, unfortunately. We live in a meta where AoE is the most devastating thing a boss can do right now. So we just have to deal with it, and Rose doesn't really have a way of dealing with it, I suppose. It is, I think, important to also mention, though, Now, Rose does have a Rage mode where you can cancel AoEs. Now, it's a hard condition to get since it's turn 6 under 66% HP, which you don't really see for the most part. But it is what it is. It's tough, but it can be done, for sure. Rose is a strong unit, but yeah, not quite top 10 LR caliber, I don't think. Because the top 10 LRs, for the most part, do something quite special, all of them. You'll see when we get to them. And next, I'll just rank them both together, the Blue Fusions. I mean, if I was to rank them, I would have Vegito a little bit higher than Gogeta, like just one spot, but it wouldn't be huge. Since I do like Vegito's guaranteed additional super, rather than Gogeta's chance to do supers at 30%, right? I do think that is important. But yeah, Vegito and Gogeta, obviously 100% chance to dodge on their first turn as blue. They have their 70% chance to dodge in slot 3. They have their attack stacking, they have their incredibly powerful active skills, like you have the active skills shenanigans as well, where you put them in slot 3, then you pop it the active skill, then move it into slot 1, they have their 70% chance to dodge before they attack. Like, that's obviously really, really solid as well. But unfortunately, they only have their 70% chance to dodge after attacking in slot 3. They do not get it before. Which, guess what that means? It means Inmerge Zamasu is going to drop that AoE turn 1 and they're going to eat 500k and instantly die. So, yeah, it's just not plausible to really run the Blue Fusions against Fusion Zamasu. Now, this tier list is not focused fully on Fusion Zamasu, but it is most important, so I do want to keep bringing it up, so I do apologize if I sound like a broken record here. But it's true. Against the other Dismal Future Red Suns, though, I do love bringing the Blue Fusions. They do great in them. Like, no problem there. Again, it's just mostly Fusion Zamasu who really tears these guys up, which is the most important. But, hey, you bring like Gogeta or Vegeta against Goku Black and Zamasu, or just Red Zone Goku Black, they tear him up. They tear them up, for sure. They're ridiculous still. A unit and these last two units are the closest, I would say, to being in the top 10, but just didn't make it. First, I'd have LR Ultimate Gohan, LR Beast Gohan. Obviously a very strong unit and very controversial unit, I definitely would say, right? He's very strong. He's much stronger now than when he came out, right? Gohan does have guard for 3 turns, which, is obviously very good, considering these fights don't last that long, especially if you have a right setup for Gohan, so someone, Earthbred Fighters, if you want to juice his numbers, or like Superhero, where you can pop his active skill early. Beast Gohan can drop crazy damage, like, very quickly. Be super effective. Also, him being physical is huge. So let me bring this up, right? Type advantage is huge, as you guys know. But look at these bosses. Like, a lot of bosses right now, Gohan is physical. So if you're a physical unit right now, you're kind of in a much better spot than tech units are, for example. Tech units are in the mud, for the most part, unless you're super special, which there is a tech unit in the top 10. So, there's actually 2. I think. Yeah, off the top of my head, there's 2. So, don't be too surprised, right? That these tech units have something super special about them, which is why they're able to kind of deal with all these bosses. But, yeah. Gohan, obviously, with his early turn guard, is super helpful. Helps him deal with stuff like Zamasu's AoE, turn 1. The longer the fight goes, though, the weaker Gohan's going to be. Not weak, but weak to AoEs, right? Because he's not going to have his guard. He will have his stats built up, and Gohan can actually have quite high stats, like start of turn, once he's fully built up. Like, I've had Gohan, with support, but, in Japan, you can bring into difficult content without too much warrior, like MVP 17 or whatever. Start with over 500k turn 1, which means he can tank physical sins AoEs, right? Who he's type neutral against, on turn 5 or whatever. So, yeah, definitely don't want to downplay Gohan. He's very good. Now, he is RNG dependent, right? You do have to build a team around him, or at least a rotation around him. So he's always able to get his key. Hopefully you get lucky with the 70% chance to super. I mean, I've been screwed many times by it, but also, when it does come through, Gohan can be very, very strong offensively, and even defensively when he has his guard. But, yeah, it's not the easiest to get things to work, but you know how it'd be with RNG in this game. Now, maybe my most controversial pick is Super Saiyan 4 Goku not making the top 10. If this was considering JP, which it's not, but if it was, we could consider the Omega fight. And this guy, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, is probably the number one unit for the Omega fight. He's probably the best unit for it. I don't think there's a unit who's able to handle Omega as easily as Goku is. Goku's kind of built for it. But unfortunately, we don't have that fight. So I cannot judge Goku on that fight. So instead, we have to judge him against Physical Sin, which, if you see my video, he can do very well in there too, but I don't like him particularly well in that fight. And I especially don't like him in the Dismal Future Red Zone. Now, if you've seen my Dismal Future, or my Goku World Tour, where we go against the Red Zone Ultimate Final bosses, he does, a double hit of Super Saiyan 4 Goku was able to no-item Fusion Zamasu. Like, we did do that. So obviously he can do it, but not with ease. Not as easy as I would like it to be with him. Now, obviously, once you get full power Super Saiyan 4 Goku out, you got the big, huge heal, you got the guard, you have the damage reduction, you got the guaranteed crits. Like, we're not judging him. He's fantastic. He's fantastic, for sure. But he's not easy to get out. And again, same problem that Carnival Goku has, and Vegeta Trunks has. Other than Fusion Zamasu, the bosses don't attack that much. Which means this guy doesn't get his hits in. It also means he gets smacked up by these supers turn 1. Which, to be fair, all of these units can be. These guys, dead. Dead. Vegeta Trunks can tank it, it's going to do a lot of damage. Golden Freeze is fine. You'll tank it, take a lot of damage. If it's post-super, you're fine for the most part. But it's pre-super, you're instantly dead. They have their 70% chance to dodge, because you instantly float them. You don't keep them around. Unless they're not getting attacked or something. Beast post-super is completely fine because he's guarding, and you've probably done at least, on average, you've probably done 2 supers, because most of the time you're probably going to be able to get the 20 key with them, especially with all these good setups, right? And then Super Saiyan 4 Goku, you can't run Goku in slot 2. You can't. Unless he's got type advantage, you basically can't run him in slot 2, because he gets his extra, not only his extra defense, but the extra damage reduction in slot 1. So he has to be there. And where does the boss most likely love the super? Slot 1, where Goku is. And Goku, especially on his first turn pre-super, cannot tank it. Like, after super, he's usually okay. And once you get to his second turn, and he gets another super in, because he has the 4-turn raise, he's fine. But a lot of the times, you don't get there. So, unfortunately, I do not have Goku on my top 10. So, you can be mad at me for not having him here. I swear, I promise you guys, I am not a Super Saiyan 4 Goku hater. I actually really like that unit. I love his OST, I love his active skill, or standby skill. I think he's great. As full power. In base Super Saiyan 4, he is just not that guy. He's not. And I love Oob as well. Oob is also very good. But Goku is not well enough designed to handle the Dismal Future Red Zone, which is the main difficult kind we have here on Global. Which, again, I am judging them on, so please don't kill me. Anyways, let's actually move into the top 10, finally. I don't know how long I've been talking, but let's get into it. So, number 10. The 8th Anniversary LR, Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. Why are they here? Why do I have them above Super Saiyan 4 Goku? By the way, I probably do think Super Saiyan 4 Goku is a better unit than these two. Probably. But the meta does not suit Goku. And it doesn't suit these guys that well either. But they have something that you can do much easier than Goku, I feel, for the most part. And that's their standby skill. Because again, they greatly stack defense, and you'd think, oh, yeah, they're fine. They can do, they can get it on... When you get 24 key with them, you can drop, a great defensive stack, and then you can get 3 regular defensive stacks, and they're going to have, 700k defense or 800k defense turn 1. They're going to be fine. No, they're not. Because Red Zone Goku Black comes in now, albeit he is STR, but he supers them, and guess what happens? Do you know what happens? They take 1.3 million damage. That's what happens, and they instantly die. So that's not good. But they are physical. So against Fusion Zamasu, against regular Zamasu, they have type advantage, so they're going to get hit hard, but they'll be okay. Now, if you get smacked turn 1 really hard, which, let's be honest, you probably will be, because these bosses hit ridiculously hard, you can instantly go into this, and this guy... Standby Goku and Vegeta are basically invincible. People say Oob's invincible, but Oob can screw you on orbs. Because he's type orb changing, which is a lot more inconsistent than rainbow orb changing. This is much more effective for the most part. And if you don't have to instantly stand by with them, you don't have to, right? If it doesn't happen, they're like, if you don't, they have a few defensive stacks up, and they'll be good. Then you can only get a couple of orbs, and these guys are still invincible, you know. But when that doesn't happen, and you instantly have to go into their standby, they can be a little bit weaker, but they'll still be a very good tank. Like, I've got them, I think, only 2 or 3 stacks, and then I got them like 6 orbs, and they tanked physical fusion Zamasu, who does like a 2 million damage super for like 160k, which is not that much. So that shows you how defensive they can be in standby. And of course, the Spirit Bomb itself, if I go back over here, the Spirit Bomb itself can do ridiculous damage, right? Like, if you get the right setup with them, they can do crazy stuff. But unfortunately, their weakness, like most units' weaknesses, are their frailty turn 1. They take a lot of damage. Their defensive stacking is not enough. They should have had something else. They build up crit chance, while the GT duo, who are also on this list, obviously, build up damage reduction. Crit is not equivalent to damage reduction. It is not. It never has been. It never will be. Even if these guys are doing guaranteed crits, and the GT duo had 50% damage reduction, the GT duo would still be better. They would be. They just would. So, yeah. They do have a fantastic key mechanic, though. I do love the 2 key per key sphere obtained. Second or third attacker, that's fantastic. I do hate 70%. This one here. This one right here, yeah. Launch is additional. That's a 70% chance to be a super. When keys 18 or more. I hate that, because it screws you. Now, to be fair, their condition to get their standby is actually quite nice as well, which is right here. Starting from the 4th turn, when you do 4 more attacks, or just when HP is 50% or less. So you can get it in clutch situations, or you can pop it whenever you need to, like after turn 4. So, yeah. Z Duo, very good unit. Love them, think they're fantastic, but not quite strong enough for what this current meta is. If I was like one change to them, like just one, I would change, well, I mean, I hate this, but the actual change I would make is, instead of building up crit chance and the GT2 build up damage reduction, I'd have these guys build up dodge to 50%. If these guys have 50% dodge, like, built up, as well as their defense stacking, I might actually like them better than the GT duo. Like, straight up, I think I would. But yeah, and then you could actually talk about them as one of the best units in the game. And they still are, but they're not in that top tier. But we'll get there. If content gets longer, I definitely think they'll make more of a comeback, and they can climb up this list a bit, since, again, defensive stacking does hold up really well. But right now, very strong, but not quite where they need to be. Next unit, we have Sword of Hope Trunks. Sword of Hope Trunks has had a weird life so far, I feel. Sword of Hope Trunks, when he first got revealed, everyone hated him, thought he sucked. He definitely didn't suck. You know, that's definitely not true. And now, more recently, people kind of turned around and be like, actually, Trunks like top 5. Which I don't think he is either. And I say this a lot with top 10 lists, and just with like rankings in general. The general public tend to have an opinion, and then there's the extreme side, like the opposite spectrum, and then the actual truth is somewhere in the middle. And that's what I believe with Trunks. Because again, a lot of people believe he sucked when he first came out, and then now a lot of people think he's like top 5. The truth is, he's actually somewhere in the middle. And I'm probably downplaying Trunks. It's like, if you juice Trunks really hard, he could go up this list for sure. Like, probably in 3 or so places. But this is where I think he actually is. He does stack defense on 18 key, which is obviously good. 30% attack and defense here. He needs a good team in time travel to 200%, which does matter, by the way. I do want to say this. A lot of people, when they're doing these tier lists, never consider like leader skills. I don't agree with that. I do think leader skill is important, especially for these top units, right? Now, you could say that brings Bulma down, and, you know, Bulma is high on this list, obviously, but, well, I don't think leader skill is, like, the most important thing, but I definitely think it's important. more so category, what categories they're on is more important, just so you can run them on different teams and if they're restricted or whatever or not. Trunks does not have any restrictions. No team restrictions, no ally restrictions, nothing like that. Sword of Hope Trunks is an RNG unit, like most units are, but his RNG is for both his offense and defense, since he builds up defense with each attack performed and damage reduction with each super attack performed in the turn. So if you get unlucky with his super attacks, he's going to suck. But I've used Trunks a lot since I have him, especially, and with 2 dupes I built him full crit. Trunks rarely, I feel, actually lets me down. Like, he doesn't really sell that hard most of the time. Now, again, people will have different uses of these units, and maybe for someone else, Sword of Hope Trunks here, like, he supers, and then he normals, and then he normals, then you get him potential, and then he normals again. And then the boss supers him when he dies. Like, it happens, for sure. It does. Like, you know, people, that's why these same people didn't like Cooler, for example, right? So back in the day, back in the day, like only a year ago, but would super, and then he'd normal, and then he'd normal, and then he'd normal, and then he'd normal, and then you die, right? Like, that's, yeah. Sword of Hope Trunks is kind of designed in that same way, but Trunks hasn't really sold for me. So I do like Trunks more. I will also say, Trunks' standby is the 5th turn from the start of turn, which is unfortunate. It's not turn 5, it's his 5th turn. So it's actually his 3rd, right? So his 1st rotation, his 2nd rotation, his 3rd rotation. On the 3rd one, so his 5th turn from the start of turn, that is when you can go into Sword of Hope. He is standby mode. And this guy, this version of Trunks, is in contention for like the best standalone unit in the game. Like, probably. Like, he's ridiculous, okay? Like, crazy damage. He can do like 5 supers. He's guarding with 50% damage reduction on his 1st turn. He Rainbow Orb changes. Like, this guy is dumb. But you do this, and then all these units do their super attacks to keep attacking, blah, blah, blah. You build up this, then you do the final Hope Slash, which animation sucks, but it does crazy damage, especially if you build him full crit. And Trunks, like, yeah, Trunks can do almost unmatched levels of damage in standby. But yeah, that's him. Trunks is very good. Again, he's also physical, so again, being physical does help you in this meta. So do keep that in mind. But Trunks is very good, and I see a lot of Trunks downplay, as well as a lot of Trunks, like, you know, slurping. But in the truth, he's somewhere in between, and Trunks is good. And yeah, that's why he's number 9 on this list. Although, again, if someone put him like a spot or 2 or even 3 higher, I don't think I disagree with them, to be completely honest. But yeah, I feel like this bottom half of the top 10 could be swapped around quite a bit. It's more the top 5, and especially top 4, that are more set in stone, I think. Anyways, let's move on to number 8, which is All Out Final Battle Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta, or Vegito Blue. But let's talk about the Blues first. They have the strongest team in the game, or strongest leader skill in the game anyways. Like, this is dumb. It's the dumbest leader skill ever, but yeah, ridiculous. Unfortunately for the Blues, they do have, well, let's talk about their strengths first. Defense stacking, obviously strong. Attack stacking, strong for the Vegeta Blue active skill. Entrance is really good. 100% defense and guard for the first 4 turns. Plus, they get 2 key per key sphere, super effective against sometimes against Realm of Gods enemy, which is the hardest fight in the game. Well, 3 of the hardest fights in the game are Realm of Gods, which just helps them. The high chance of dodge in slot 1, so the dodge plus guard in slot 1 is so helpful. Like, they are built for the This is my future red zone, and they do cook it. It's amazing. We do love that for them. Now, where is their weakness? Where's the big weakness here? Does anyone tell me what their biggest weakness is? Is it this? Is this their biggest weakness? You could say it is. I wouldn't disagree. But my biggest weakness with them is probably this. Just the attack stacking. If they got defense on 12 key 2, like just for 1 turn, like realistically, what I would change? Stack defense, raise attack for 1 turn. Stack attack, raise defense for 1 turn. Right there. And this unit would go up in a lot of people's ratings, I think. Because if they got extra defense per super, they'd go crazy. Like, they're already just at Vegeta and Trunks in slot 1 with 50% dodge and guard and defense stacking. And if they were getting extra defense, they would have like probably 900k defense turn 1 with like 50% chance to dodge and guard if they got a couple of supers off. Like, it's ridiculous. They could have been perfect, but unfortunately, they're not quite there. Their active skill is unfortunately quite hard to activate. Again, well, not quite hard. It can be inconsistent, I think is the better word, actually. 70% or less from the 5th turn is not the most consistent, but you can definitely get it. Dismal Future Red Zone, usually turn 5 or their 5th turn, so that can be turn 5 or 6 for the most part, or turn 7, if you match the second condition here. Turns, like, this is usually when you're finishing up the fight, generally. This is when the fight is ending. And you can kind of just jump into Vegeta Blue here. Hold on, let me go grab him. You can kind of jump into Vegeta Blue, and Vegeta Blue will just finish the fight. Like, it'll be over. He will end it with his active skill, generally. Or just his 50 million supers. Again, he can have guaranteed dodge. He has damage reduction built in and dodge anyway. People don't talk about this too often with Vegeta. It's probably because they don't see Vegeta that often. But when you do get this, this is a big... You feel this. You know? Like, it's big. It's hugely valuable. So Vegeta Blue is... Yeah. I don't really have complaints with this guy. It's more so the Goku and Vegeta, who unfortunately just weren't made strong enough. I feel, but it's fine. They're not bad. I mean, they're 8th on this list. They could definitely have been higher. Like, even still, I think I could move them up, like, probably 1 or 2 spots as well. But I think this is probably where I have them right now. But again, things can change. Metas can change. Boss typing matters. All this type of thing. So who knows? Who knows how the future of Vegeta Blue will be affected. If content gets a little bit longer, you'll probably be easier to see Vegeta Blue. But if content stays short and slot 1 units are still super important, well, they always will be, but if they remain even more important than what these guys do, the blue duo here, matters even more, and their stock will stay high. So yeah, let's move on to number 7. Yeah. So, number 7 is Zamasu. Infinite Zamasu. This guy right here. I want to get one thing out of the way, just immediately with this guy. Because I've been seeing some Zamasu downplay on Twitter, right? I see it. I'm there. Follow me on Twitter. Link is in my channel description, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so follow me on Twitter. I talk Dokkan regularly enough. And I try to interact with people when I see fit. This guy is not bad. I don't know where people think he is. I've seen people have this guy at 10. I've seen people put this guy off their top 10 lists, which I literally don't understand, but okay, I guess. He has a very strong leader skill right here, Realm of Gods Worldwide Chaos Fused Fighters, with the extra 30% of time traps and final trump card. And people think that this guy cannot be run with superclass units, and the reason they think he can't is because of Infinite Zamasu, which I understand, because Infinite Zamasu here, although he nullifies all attacks, he does all this orb changing, he's a support, he does this. He increases damage received by superclass enemies and allies by 30%. Which is true. He does do that. He hurts superclass units that you could run your team. Like the Blue Fusions, for example, who I think is a good option on this guy's team. But here's the thing. A lot of the time, you don't have to go into Fusion Zamasu. You don't have to go into Infinite Zamasu and do that. Or maybe, right? Maybe you just run the Blue Fusions, and by the time you turn into Infinite Zamasu, because I've made this work on video, I'm pretty sure. Like in some Sin runs or something, or maybe it was the Zamasu World Tour, against like the Metal Cooler Core. The time when I did turn into Infinite Zamasu, that was the Blue's like 100% dodge turn. So guess what happens when they take increased damage? It doesn't matter, because they dodged. They dodged. Although the damage definitely is increased, if you're running units who dodge, or are very good defensively anyway, Infinite Zamasu doesn't really hurt them. So don't be afraid to put superclass units on Zamasu's team, because it doesn't really matter. Because VB, for example, is also on this team. And guess what? VB, when you get him out, for the most part, has his active skill up, or has dodge built in already. So you don't have to worry about him. He's fine. So again, Zamasu's team is stronger than people think, because they're just afraid to toss superclass units on the team, when for the most part, it works. It does. But anyways, that's my small rant over. I get upset when people are like, oh my god, you can't run superclass units on Zamasu team. His team is so bad. No, it's not. It's not. It simply isn't. But anyways, Zamasu. Great super attack effect, great team. Him having 80% damage reduction turn 1 is fantastic. He's basically Golden Frieza, but with more defense. And 10% less damage reduction, but more defense. And much higher damage as well. His just high chance to crit built in means you don't have to give him crit and hidden potential system. Which is why I went full additional on him, for example. You definitely go with a bit of dodge on him too. He does build up by getting hit, but it's just attack for the most part. Except for here. Yeah, which has to receive an attack. Oh no, that's when they're receiving. Oh no, sorry, it's this part here. Plus the additional 25% attack with each attack received. It's received. It's the wording, right? When it's receiving, that's when, if he dodges it, I'm pretty sure he still gets that. Right? Because this defense activates... No. This defense activates immediately. Right? But even when his damage reduction does wear out, the extra 40% from his intro, 40% damage reduction, he just moves from slot 1, where he's a slot 1 god, to a slot 2 god. And who do you put in slot 1? AGL merge Zamasu, who EZ8, who's fantastic. He can now sit in slot 1, and he should be good to go. Or there's other dodge units, or the blue fusions on their dodge turn, or whatever. You know, there's options. Zamasu is not a sitting duck. He is very good. Yeah. One problem for Zamasu, and I guess if we were to point out another issue, he does get this extra key and attack and defense when there's no Realm of Gods enemies, which is fine against like Omega when that fight comes out, or Sin, who we currently have. But Goku Black and Zamasu, Red Zone Goku Black, and Red Zone Fusion Zamasu are all Realm of Gods enemies, which technically weakens Zamasu from his full potential here. But it doesn't matter. He's strong enough to go against all these tough bosses. I've had this guy with only a 60% reduction up, so not his full 80, but his 60% reduction, eat a super attack from physical merge Zamasu and live. And that was also without, where is it? Without this, right here. This 70%, or this 50% defense as well. He didn't have that. It was pre-super, so before he got to a chance to like get defense here, he just tanked it. He just lived. Now, he took a lot of damage. He took like 500k, but these teams have 600 to 700 to 800k defense, or 800k HP, and he did live. So, yeah, I don't want to see this Zamasu downplay. He is fantastic still, and I think he will continue aging quite well for another while. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys are right. Maybe these Twitter people are correct, and Zamasu sucks, but I don't know. Hasn't let me down with his 2 dupes. So yeah, let's move on. Number 6, the EZA physical androids. Yet again, it does help them that they are physical, but they got a very strong EZA, which I definitely underestimated. Like, I read their details when they came out, and I said, oh, they look good. They look good. They don't look crazy or anything, but they look solid. They look in line with what a EZA, like LR EZA, kind of just looks like. So I said, sure, they seem good. Then I seen the gameplay, and my god, these guys are actually a little bit better than that. So, defense on both supers, they lower attack, which can be helpful in some stages. High stats start a turn. Defense on super attack. They do have dodge, medium chance here, but if your HP is above 66%, they have additional dodge. Where is it that? Where can I point that out? Right here. Sorry, additional 3 key and chance of evading enemies at plus 20% when HP is 66% or more. There you go, right there. So they have a 50% chance to dodge as well. They get defense on dodge as well, and a guaranteed addition with a high chance to be a super for 3 turns, and 50% support to androids, which is now a very strong team. With the physical androids, Android 21, we just got AGL 13 as well, MVP 17. The Gammas, I think the Hellfire 17 could like the Super 17 unit could even do some work, potentially. But yeah, these guys are good, for sure. They do a lot, like the support, the dodge, the high defense. Like this is what you want from a unit, right? It ticks off a lot of boxes. But then you go, if you fall below 66%, you can exchange into Android 16 here. And Android 16, this guy is ridiculous. Like, ridiculously high stats on super, guaranteed critting, like on his first turn, which is dumb. And then guaranteed additional when there's, like, full Android rotation. Not sure if you realize, but this guy has like 2 million defense. Like, this is a rainbow one, mind you. But 2 million defense post super? Like, okay. Like, sure, that's fine. Why not? Who cares? 2 million defense on 16 here. He is a ridiculous unit that... Yeah, he just does mega damage. And again, because these fights are short and they're physical. Or they're int, sorry, I keep saying physical. Because they're int. He just blitzes them. He, like, one-turns them. Like, they're basically dead. Like, I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, Android 16 and the physical androids in general are a ridiculously strong unit. And one of the most ridiculous EZAs I've seen in a while. Although this year has been very good for EZAs, for the most part. There's, again, some exceptions to that. But a lot of EZAs this year have actually been very strong. So yeah, the physical androids, super good. So yeah, let's move on to the actual top 5. And at number 5... we have these boys right here. The Super Saiyan 3 trio of Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks. Very, very dumb unit right here. Very dumb unit. So, Super Saiyan 3 trio here, with their greatly raising attack and defense for 3 turns, and the greatly raised attack for 3 turns. Their super strong intro, where they're super effective and have damage reduction. Their orbit changing, huge stats on super, which again isn't great for Fusion Zamasu, but and this mechanic right here, which I love. High chance of a super for every 3 key spheres obtained, up to 3 additionals in the same turn. Super fun mechanic. They can do like 5 supers. They're my kind of unit. I did not summon for them. Well, I did one single, or one multi, but I did want to see if New Year's was joined first, and it doesn't look like it is. And I highly doubt Anniversary is going to be either. So I might actually go back in on their banner. We'll see. I'll think about it. But yeah, this unit, super good. Super, super good. Crazy damage. They have a crazy strong active skill with their guaranteed crits as well. So if they get really lucky with their orbs and their super attacks, you can get like all these raises, and then their damage just goes through the moon. Like, it's dumb. They do crazy damage. So I would definitely say that these guys are one of the best units in the game. Their defense post-super, by the way, is usually pretty good. It's not amazing, but with 30% damage reduction, like roughly a million-ish defense, they look really good. Also, it does help that they lead a fantastic team as well. Super Saiyan's 200%, with like future Gohan on the team, Sword of Hope Trunks, Tech Carnival Goku, God Goku. There's lots of good options for the Super Saiyan team. So I definitely do like these guys a lot. So yeah, the LR Super Saiyan trio are at number 5 here. Let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is the GT duo right here. No surprise that they're in the top 4. They lead one of the best teams in the game, Power of Wishes, Battle of Fate. That's one of the best leader skills for sure. Probably in the top 4 leader skills in the game. Maybe I'll make that a video. Best leader skills in the game? I might. That could be fun. I might do that. But yeah, anyways, they are a ridiculously good unit. I've seen this unit actually get downplay as well on Twitter, which I don't understand. I don't see how you could have these guys outside of the top 4 units in the game. I really don't. Like, they greatly stack attack and regularly stack attack with raising defense for the turn. They've the great key mechanic that the Z duo have as well. 70% chance of super is very annoying. They build up damage reduction permanently. They have one of the better, if not the best, standby. And probably best revive in the game. Because they stand by, which is very easy to get. Get hit 4 times by turn 4, or just be below 50% HP, which is easy. And then you do this. Like, 80% attack support. And then the free revive where anyone dies, recover 100% HP, and then activate the finish skill. Like, are you serious? Like, it's crazy. They do stupid levels of damage for no reason. it's free. They, like, any team you can toss these guys on, you should. Like, they're so good. Like, they stack attack, they have very solid defense once they build up. Like, by their second turn, they can be fully built up. They can, you know, you do get 24k, you super, 10% damage reduction. The 18 key 70% super pulls through, 20%. 24k, 30%. Hidden potential, 40%. Next turn, first super, 50% damage reduction. You're done. Or if you didn't even get hidden potential, or you failed the 70%, the second super will get you it. So, yeah, their defense can get really ridiculous since they raise their defense on each super for the turn. And while they're stacking attack, building up the damage for this Spirit Bomb, this Spirit Bomb, which just does insane levels of damage, just ridiculous levels of damage. And then you just win. Like you get the revive, you're in a huge spot. This can save you against Fusion Zamasu. Like, them turn 1 is really bad, but if you get them turn 2, because Zamasu will do a lot of damage to you generally on turn 1, you get to the second turn, and guess what happens? You're below 50%, instantly pop the revive, and then you're good to go. And you do the damage to Zamasu, and then you move on. Back to the other rotation, Zamasu just gets screwed. It's great. Like, they have utility, because again, Zamasu is a scary guy, but you pop this revive, and suddenly you're in the driving seat, plus their STR, so when you get to physical fusion Zamasu, they shred him. They shred him and can tank him ridiculously well. So, yeah, the GET duo, the other 8th anniversary unit, super, super good. Let's make it into the top 3 now. The podium spots. And the first guy in the podium spot, getting the bronze medal here, Future Gohan. Future Gohan is obviously really, really good. Also leads a fantastic team, Future 200%. Like, are they serious with that? Like, okay. Ridiculous. We get defense here, which we love. Great intro condition. Post-super, this guy, for the first 5 turns, is an 80% damage reduction. Post-super, 60% pre-super. As long as he gets, 18k, I think? Yeah, once he gets 18k. Like, this guy builds up really easy. It's about attacking, isn't it, as well? Yeah, we need to attack before, not even super attack. So if you miss the 18k high chance, but you get the guaranteed 1 at 20, it doesn't matter, he's fine. And then, same condition as Sword of Hope, and yeah, same condition as Sword of Hope, which is on his 5th turn, not turn 5, unfortunately. He activates his domain, which is City Future Rainy, which we do love. Changes int key spheres to STR, and this guy performs guaranteed crits when the active skill is up, or when key is 24. And then this, to domain, when that comes up, all the toughest enemies right now are extreme, and guess what happens when you use this guy? Guess what happens? Physical fusion Zamasu gets 1 turned by this guy. Like, it's dumb. It's really, really dumb. But yeah, he also, on his active skill, gets this defensive buff and permanent key. Like, what is that? What is that? This guy, one of the best units in the game, for sure. He can actually get hit relatively hard by Fusion Zamasu's AoE. Well, relatively hard, like 70k, which isn't that bad. Which is a lot better than some of the other units on this list, by the way. Like, the Z Duo, for example, who I have here, take about 100k from the AoE. Like, immediately, and they have type advantage, right? Like, Sword of Hope, my 2-dupe one, takes 130. The blues can dodge in slot 1. Zamasu takes double digits on turn 1 and turn 2. The androids can dodge. They take the most. They take like probably... I don't actually have them, but I've seen them take like 200k from the AoE, which is why you build them with dodge, right? I think dodge is definitely the best way to build them. They take like 3... Well, actually, they probably take more, huh? They probably take like 350. But hopefully, again, utilities get them turn 2. If you get them turn 1, you're kind of screwed. But also, this guy right here takes like 70-ish, which isn't that bad. And if he's the only one taking damage from the AoE on that turn, you're not doing too bad. But yeah, that is Future Gohan. Ridiculously, ridiculously strong unit. Number 2, LR Bulma. I mean, no surprise here that she's in here. Great super attack effects. We do love that, of course. Great intro. You know, giving herself guard. Huge stat start of turn. Rainbow orb changing. Damage reduction, building up every turn, gets stats per key sphere obtained. Just the multiple turn support as well, guaranteed additional 7. On her active skill turn, she gives super effective against all types to everyone, as well as basically giving you a full heal when you click the orbs with her, and making herself like have very high starter turn stats. Bulma's like multiple turn support and such is just, it's dumb. I feel like I don't actually have to talk that long about Bulma, right? And I think most people know how good Bulma is. Multiple turn support, that guard, damage reduction, like, we know it's dumb, right? That we get it. Do I have to sit here and explain how good Bulma is? I don't think I do. You guys know this. Which means number 1 is obviously Orange Piccolo. Orange Piccolo, yeah. I mean, come on, right? Like, again, just like Bulma, do I have to explain this? Guard, for start of turn, high stats, damage reduction built in, builds up, stats from getting hit, which usually wouldn't be great, but Piccolo has such high stats start turn anyway, with his guard and his damage reduction on top, that he can actually take these hits. To build up, it's not really a problem. He's a support when he gives all his 2 key after receiving an attack. He also links really well with Bulma. They share like 4 links together, which is really dumb. He has this big heal, which is, not, I definitely don't want to say common, but if you get it, he basically becomes invincible. Like, he's ridiculous. But, I mean, let's be honest, the real reason why he's number 1 on this list is none of these things. Well, it's a few of these things, but it's mostly this, right? It's this. Cancelling boss abilities with this, and then doing crazy damage, and, boss abilities like super attacks and AoEs. Like, we know why Orange Piccolo is number 1. He's not going to be taken from number 1 for probably until the 9th anniversary. Like, he's basically going to be best in the game for over a year. It's kind of crazy. But let's look at the top 10 here, if I can load here. Yep. Whoops. Top 10. Z-Duo, Trunks, the Blues, Zamasu, the Androids, the Super Saiyan Trio, the GT Duo, Future Gohan, and Bulma, Piccolo. Yeah, like, this isn't really going to change. Like, it's great that these guys just got added here, especially in the upper echelon. We do love that. I do feel bad about Super Saiyan 4 Goku, but this meta does not suit him at all. It really doesn't. But yeah, that's the top 10 units in the game. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if I'm an idiot and I'm the dumbest person ever and I know nothing about this game. Please let me know if that's true. But with that said, thank you for watching. This was a long video, but I have a lot to say. For the most part, I like to explain my thoughts for most things I say. So hopefully that was somewhat entertaining. But thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.